I call this meeting of the Hurst-Euless-Bedford Independent School District to order, that the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight, the Board of Trustees is meeting in a called board meeting. Excuse me 1 second. All right, we're going to start with our invocation, and this evening the invocation will be led by former board member Faye Blue.
It is a joy to be here with you this evening. I invite all to pray with me. Gracious God, the proverb says that in the multiplicity of counselors there is wisdom. Some translations say safety. Regardless, we thank you for the group of trustees here tonight meeting to consider the work of the district. They're tireless and they have a lot on their plate. We ask that you support them physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as they go about this work, lifting up children, lifting up employees, making this district the best it can be. We thank you for the parents gathered in this room to hear about programs this evening and to watch young people being recognized. We thank you for the success that we see on an individual and a corporate level across our district from every level of education. We thank you for public schools and for what's being done day to day to demonstrate the strength of that entity. We thank you that we can meet tonight to consider the agenda before this group, while in other places in the world at this same time, the focus can't be on something like tonight's agenda. It rather has to be on survival, on protecting families, keeping families safe. We pray for those conflicts, that you would bring about resolution, that you would bring about a holy peace. We think specifically tonight of Ukraine and Israel and ask that you pour oil and balm on those situations. We're entering a time of public recognition of gratitude, and we just ask that you remind us on a day-to-day basis of those things for which we can be thankful, beginning with your provisions for us. May we accept those and use them to be your hands and feet in this community for your glory and in fulfillment of your purpose. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Ballou. Next, we will have our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Canon Fafia and Kinley Fafia from Midway Park Elementary. We have the American flag over here and the Texas flag over here. We'll start right after you do. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, thank you so much. If you'll stay up here for just a second, we got a couple things for you. Yeah, come and stand right up here in front.
And face out there, so, yep.
Cannon is a fourth grader at Midway Park. Last year, Cannon was nominated by his third grade teachers as an essential kid. This program recognizes students who exhibit leadership behaviors inside and outside of the classroom with their peers. Like her brother Cannon, Kenley has also attended Midway Park since kindergarten. In fact, 4 out of the 5 Fia children have had the same kindergarten teacher at Midway Park, Kimberly Day. Kenley is a member of the HEB ISD Honor Choir. She loves to sing and share her talents with others. Another fun fact about both Cannon and Kenley, besides their mom, Natalie, who teaches English at Trinity High School, their grandfather works as a teacher assistant at Midway Park, and their grandmother is a favorite substitute at the campus as well.
Thank you so much for leading our pledge tonight. Tonight, the Board of Trustees is meeting in its regularly scheduled monthly meeting to officially act on the items included on the posted agenda. The Board welcomes and appreciates comments and input from the community. Open forum is provided at each meeting to allow the public to address the Board. There will be 2 open forums tonight. Open forum number 1 is to hear requests regarding agenda items only. Open forum number 2 is to hear requests or make comments regarding non-agenda items and will be heard at the end of the meeting. Those addressing the Board are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes per meeting. The speaker should identify his or her name, group affiliation if any, and make a brief presentation with an identified solution if one is sought. Remarks should be addressed to the Board as a whole. Oral presentations may not include any charges against any employee or board member by name. It is my responsibility to determine if the person addressing the Board has attempted to resolve a concern informally or through the district's complaint policies. If not, the speaker will be directed to follow the appropriate policy. The Board requests that all presentations be made in a courteous, respectful, and professional manner and asks that speakers monitor their own behavior. If you wish to speak during one of the open forums, please fill out one of the cards located on the table in the entry hall. We're going to now review the Board activity chart. I'll start with Ms. Wells.
Alrighty. I attended with all of us on the Texas Association of School Boards and Texas Association of
School administrators.
Convention in Dallas, September the 29th through October the 1st, where I learned a lot about advocacy. I also attended the bond information meeting at Trinity High School. Visited Arbor Creek Elementary and South Hurst-Euless to talk to the staff about the Education Foundation Staff Giving campaign. I attended the Council of PTA's Legislative Town Hall with State Representative Bojani speaking about the upcoming legislation to be voted on in November, and attended a Trinity High School football game.
I also attended Tassa TASB, and I did sessions on artificial intelligence, which I had some mixed feelings about. A couple sessions on the drug crisis among our youth, and also a really good session on CTE and how different schools are figuring out what kids want to do at their technical academies, so it was very fruitful. I was in the Trinity Parade with Miss Cole, which is one of my favorite things to do. And I went and read to Mrs. Bunker's 3rd grade class at Veridian, read them a book called Loudmouths. And I say this every time, but they told me my hair was pretty and my shoes were pretty and I did not look 56. And I thought, well, that's why I love being here. So thank you to Miss Bunker. I also, this year, have been mentoring at Keys High School, which I love. And the great thing about it is those kids are graduating before we even get them out of our mentoring program. So that's just been really good for my heart and good for my soul to spend time with those kids and see them graduate. And then Saturday night, I went to Bedford Junior High and saw Beauty and the Beast. It is playing again this next weekend, and you all, if you have time, it was so good. What I loved the most was how many kids they have involved in that theater program. From the actors and the crew, there were so many kids, and I thought it was wonderful that we have something like that for so many kids to participate and have fun, and it was really good, so please go check it out if you have the opportunity.
Ms. Cole?
I too attended several bond informational meetings at both Bell and Trinity and for community members. Also the Tessa TASB conference. I will say I was extremely busy for those 4 days that I was there. I participated in the delegate assembly along with Fred. Sorry, I've slept a few times. I attended a area association meeting as I currently serve as the president of the North Texas Area Association of School Boards. My TASB director meetings, and as a TASB director, I last year was serving on the Member Services Committee, and the Member Services Committee is tasked with interviewing and selecting the Superintendent of the Year for the state. And so I did that as well. So I was very, very busy. Learned a lot in those Superintendent of the Year interviews, and can proudly say we picked a very good Superintendent of the Year. The other thing I want to mention is last week I had to go out of town for my other job, and because I was out of town, I missed one of my favorite things, which is Trojan Talk. But I had a substitute for my class. Dr. Brendan Johnson served as the substitute for my Trojan Talk class, and from what I understand, they were well behaved, and he did a great job with them. So thank you for assisting.
Mr. Campos?
So to not repeat, I attended a lot of the same things. Let me just highlight a few things that are a little different. Appreciate both Dr. Harrington as well as staff doing all of the bonds. I attended the Viewpoint bond as well as the Council PTA message about the bond. Also too, with staff and Dr. Harrington, I attended the NLF breakfast. I've attended all the home games, been very exciting. And board, I represented us on the Stan the Man Chili cook-off. Yeah, I had about 15 different chilies, and for a ketovore person, that was quite an interesting evening. But nonetheless, we picked some good ones. And then, yes, I just want to echo, Trojan Talk has been fantastic this year, and I just really love the curriculum that they're doing and enjoy spending time with the kids.
All right. One thing that I did get to attend that was a lot of fun was the BOA HEB finals, which happened over at Pennington Field. Living in North Texas, we literally have some of the very best bands in the entire country, and we got to see a lot of them perform that night. Bell was in the finals, and they did a great job. And then in the area championship that just happened, we need to congratulate Bell on making it to state and coming in third in area, but also congratulations to Trinity for coming in, I believe, 15th out of 35 bands. So that's a great showing. So congratulations to both of our band programs. All right. Any comments, Dr. Harrington?
I just wanted to throw in one more. There's been so busy and so many events. One other event, I got to go to the Trinity play. They put on the Addams Family. So I was able to attend that, and that was wonderful. And then LD Bell is doing Little Shop of Horrors in 2 weeks. So again, these performances are always a lot of fun, and just encourage everyone to take advantage of those.
All right, any clarifications?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right, I'd like to say a quick thanks to our greeters this evening. You may have noticed 2 students in green blazers as you entered tonight. These students are part of the HEB ISD Student Ambassador Program, which is a select group of students chosen through an application and interview process to be the face of the district. They are trained to assist with public relations and communication services and are given the opportunity to positively promote HEB ISD while developing leadership skills. Tonight we have Julie Iserman, an LD Bell senior, and Aiden Yee, a Trinity junior. Over the past year, we've been using this opportunity to hear the voice of our district students by asking the ambassadors a question. This month we're asking this question. Irish playwright Janord Bernard Shaw is credited with saying the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. What tools have you learned as a student ambassador and as a leader on your campus to improve your communication skills?
Hello everybody, my name is Julie Iserman and I'm a second-year ambassador. So I kind of wanted to start off with one of the main messages that I've learned about communication throughout these past 2 years in this program, and it's that whenever you're speaking to people, they hear more of what you're feeling than what you're saying. And that's kind of impactful to me because a little story. Last year, whenever I did this, I was really, really nervous. And I remember I made a note card and I tried to follow the script exactly whenever I spoke in here. And after I left, I just remember thinking that what I wanted to get across wasn't actually sent out. And it's just because I was so focused on what I wanted to say versus what I wanted to feel during it. And so kind of how that ties into one of the biggest tools that I've had throughout these years that I've needed to learn to rely on is just confidence in the fact that you're able to produce what you want to. And if you know that, then you'll be able to get out any message that you want. And so then something else that I've learned is what's called a box. And well, it's a theory called the box. And when you're in the box, you're so focused on your self-fulfilling prophecy of what you wanted to get people to understand rather than what you actually want them to hear, and kind of just the fact that you're so focused on what you're saying instead of living in the present and knowing that you can do it once you get there. And so back to the fact that communication is an illusion, to me that means that whenever you're communicating to people, if you're only focusing on conveying the words, then it's not going to get to what communication really is, which I think is conveying understanding. And once you gather that, I think it's really been able to help me find success throughout this year. And thank you.
My name is Aiden Yee, and I'm a Trinity junior, and this is my first year as a student ambassador, and hopefully I'll be here next year to give this speech again, or a different speech to a different question. Yeah, not the same exact speech. Yeah, that'll be a little bit repetitive. So I just wanted to start with, through my experience as an ambassador, I have gained the confidence needed to present myself and to present my thoughts and what I intend to say to other people, to my peers, to my teachers, and today to the board. I feel as though I have gained the confidence that I need to effectively communicate what I want to say. Because before, I was a very shy person. I was always very reserved, and I was always overwhelmed with anxiety and nervousness. I would literally rehearse and memorize to the letter what I was going to say before I say it. And thankfully, I did not do it this time. So, or else, I would be reading off a speech, and it would be just very monotone. But I feel as though through the program, I have learned that, to echo what off of Julie said, it's more of what you want the audience to feel and to speak from your heart rather than to just read words off of paper, which mean literally nothing. And to add on, I feel like I have gained the experience that I need to communicate well with others through the ambassador program. I've been able to talk to a lot of wonderful students and a lot of teachers and administrators from across our district. And one person I want to recognize in particular is my fellow ambassador, Matthew Boyd. He has helped me tremendously in how to communicate and how to present myself, and just overall help me become a better person. In relation to the quote that the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that is taking place, just as a student ambassador, sometimes, we always seek to engage our audience and to converse with others, but sometimes, maybe they're having a bad day and they just breeze right past you and they ignore you. And you just have to keep moving on, and you have to just accept that and, learn with that and keep moving on. Or how even in school today, I was attempting to help my classmates in schoolwork, but, they just kept talking and talking over me, not accepting what I have to say. But with my experience, it's just I learned how to move on and how to cope with that fad, and maybe seek to help them in different ways rather than just communicating. So overall, I think through this program and being a leader on my campus, I think I have shattered the illusion of how communication, is not just words or how other people interpret it, but it's how you promote feelings and understanding through what we say. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie and Aiden, for those great answers. They're really good. All right, at this time, we're going to recognize our National Merit semifinalists. Ms. Harris.
Good evening. Over 1.3 million juniors and about 21,000 high schools entered the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the 2022 preliminary SAT, the PSAT, and MSQT. which was the initial screener of the program entrance. The nationwide pool of semifinalists includes the highest scoring entrants in each state. About 16,000 of these high scores, representing less than 1% of each state's entrants, qualify as semifinalists in the annual National Merit Program. These are the only students who will progress to the finalist level and be eligible for the National Merit and corporate scholarships that come from that. So I'd like to introduce to you our National Merit semifinalists. First, we have Lucas Case, who isn't here tonight because he's representing LD Bell at a regional cross-country meet. But I gave him the live stream, so if you're there, Lucas, hey. And, and we'll recognize him on a different night. We've made plans for that. But we do have here Zane Kramer from LD Bell High School. We'll do a picture with Mr. Belcher. He's on his way. He's slowly moseying along. Martinek, you're on deck. From Trinity High School, we have Matthew Boyd. I know y'all don't know him. I'd like to introduce you to Matthew Boyd. Just kidding. We have Sydney Hawkins. And Mary McComb.
Congratulations so much for that recognition. I know that your mailboxes are probably already blowing up with the amount of mail that you're getting. It's the way it's going to be for a while, but take every opportunity that this gives to you, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities. Once you have this designation as a National Merit finalist, it all opens up, and you're going to be able to write your ticket to a lot of places, so congratulations. All right, Human Resources Appreciation Day. Mr. Streeter.
Good evening. I'm actually a little nervous now to read this after listening to Julie. I don't typically write notes, but I wanted to make sure I hit a couple of high points. So thank you, Julie, for wherever you are. I hope I convey the feelings as much as the words. I sincerely mean that. Just briefly, Governor Greg Abbott proclaimed October 11th as Texas Education Human Resources Day, a day set aside to recognize and honor the important contributions made by school and staff who work in human resources. In HEB-ISD, we are pleased to have an HR department that constantly looks for ways to support the needs of our staff, campuses, and departments. The HR team works in collaboration with other departments to find creative ways to provide excellent service and care for all of our employees. The HR department is instrumental in growing future leaders through Lead HEB program, and they provide ongoing training like Strengths Finders and crucial conversations to support the needs of our current leaders. The HR team is always searching for positive and meaningful ways to recruit and retain the very best employees in North Texas. So on behalf of the district, I just want to say thank you, and we are very blessed to be served by such an amazing team. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you to the HR team and their leader, Cicely Tuttle. All right, 4.04 National Principals Month. Mr. Johnson and Ms. Clark.
Good evening. I also was listening to Julie and feeling a little bit intimidated by, no, all you kids did a great job. Very impressed. I wanted to take this opportunity, since October is National Principals Month, to recognize our elementary principals specifically. I'm very, very proud of them and the hard work they do every day. I admire them and appreciate them very much. They work tirelessly to support our students and our staff, and I just appreciate what they do to get their students ready for the next level of education. So happy Principals Month. If there's any elementary principals in the crowd or any listening, there's one right there. Thank you very much.
And I just like to echo the same words, Ms. Clark. And we have two of our very own in here, and actually one standing outside. Mr. Atkins out there. So Mr. Martinak, Mr. Belcher, Mr. Atkins, secondary principals, they are an amazing group of professionals. Every day they sacrifice for ours, your kids, and they give up countless hours in their time. And as you know, sometimes we don't always get thank yous for that. And so it's awesome to be able to celebrate them and thank them for all the hard work that they do. So thank you all.
All right, thank you for those recognitions. At this time, we're going to pass out certificates of appreciation for those making donations.
So this month, our grand total is $2,049.85. And as always, we appreciate our nonprofits, our faith-based organizations, and our local businesses for all the help they give our kids. The first one is presented by Board Member Chris Brown, the family of Billy Latimer, to Trinity Lakes Elementary. $698.85 donation in honor of Billy Latimer, which will be used to purchase and install a buddy bench next to the playground to help students who seek a buddy to play with. And here is Summer, how do you say the last name? Kuhn, Amanda Latimer, Kaylin Latimer, Brett Latimer, and Miss Coulter, who is the principal, to accept the certificate. I love this idea, buddy bench. Thank you all so much. The next one will be presented by Board Member Fred Campos. It's Parker Law Firm to Keys High School. $351 donation, which will be used to purchase lunch for the teachers and staff at Keys High School, and Mr. Adkins, principal, is here. What day is lunch, Mr. Adkins? What day is lunch? What day is lunch? No invite? The next one will be presented by Board Member Julie Cole. Deborah Ressler to LD Bell High School, $1,000, which will be used to help supplement and support the LD Bell Band program towards expenses that are included in their regular budget. And Mr. Belcher, principal, is here. Thank you all for the donations.
Thank you so much for those donations. We're ready for open forum number one. Anything for open forum number one? Ms. Hollander? No? Okay. All right. So at this time, we would normally be going into closed session, but I'm going to give anyone who would like to take the opportunity to step out. Don't want you to feel like you need to stay here if you've got other things to get onto or baseball games or anything like that that you're looking to.
We understand.
Yeah.
Not you, Dobie.
Yeah, you can't go, Chris.
Nice try. He went to stand up. Oh. Thank you.
All right, we're on item 9.01, motion to approve a consent agenda. Does anyone have any agenda items they'd like to remove from the consent agenda? All right, then I will accept a motion.
I move the board approve the consent agenda as submitted, sorry.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Please vote. That's a weird vote. I don't think we have enough to pass it yet.
Should we do a hand vote?
There it is. Okay, that motion passes. Okay, reports and presentations. Report on employments, resignations, and retirements. Were there any questions on that report? Any questions on disbursements for the month of September 2023?
Nope.
10.03, social and emotional health report. Ms. Brown?
Okay, hi, I am Dr. Carmen Brown. I am the lead for our crisis intervention and prevention team. Do I need to click it on? Okay. I'm just going to briefly go through because we have a new team member. You guys, I went through our team members last year. There's myself. I'm a licensed specialist in school psychology. We have Heather Andrews, who's a licensed clinical social worker. We have Irene Cedillo. She's our bilingual licensed clinical social worker. And then this is our new member, Amanda Sawyer. We were able to add that fourth member because we really, really needed that support. It's helped tremendously. Okay, these are just kind of some of the things that we do to help the students in our district. We respond to mental health crisis, community crisis. We work with the behavior intervention units of all the area HEB police departments. We work with the threat assessment team. We are members on the threat assessment team, and we help to determine those levels of threat. And then we make, especially the mental health recommendations, where that piece that helps with what we do with those kids when they need intervention. We provide case management, and we provide training to parents and staff, and then we collaborate with area mental health agencies. This is the process. This crisis intervention and threat referral model, we've kind of streamlined. We now have that as an icon on our class link, so the teachers and administrators and counselors and anyone can go straight to that and ask them a question to begin with, and then it sends it out to us whether it's a threat or a crisis. So much easier for our staff not trying to find the right form to use. Then we still have the parent referral form that they can link from our website, or they also get it every month in our newsletter that we send out. The beacon alerts, that's how we get it through what the kids are doing online. It sends an alert to us for any of those words, those keywords that it flags, so we can follow up on that. And then Crime Stopper alerts. This is our current district threat assessment team. We've kind of added a few people and changed a few things. We have, of course, Dan Phillips, Ray Fuller, Sonia Stanton has added to our team this year, Valen Tutt, and then the four of us on the crisis team. Our DAP counselor, Mr. Weedman, Officer Blunt from Euless PD, Mr. Adkins, and then Hector has come and joined us several times as needed because we're dealing more and more with like employee situations, and we're wanting to support them too. So he comes and joins us as needed when he's able to. This is just some of the things we provide and some of our relationships and MOUs that we have with people that we work with. We still provide the Mind Above Matter. That's the intensive outpatient and partial hospitalization program here in the district. It's still provided in the portables out behind Central and Keys, that area, and we're still in communication and we're still working very closely with them. We still have our MOU with MHMR. T-Chat, that is really, really, really broadened, and we are sending a lot of kids to T-Chat. And this is the additional support we have. They're offering a support group for our teachers, and that started in September, so that's something that we're referring teachers to. And this current one, it goes from now until December, but I think that they're going to start another one as soon as spring rolls around.
Do you find that teachers are utilizing that resource?
Yes. Yep. Well, they're asking for it. Now, T-Chat isn't currently following up with me if employees are joining it, but they're definitely asking for that resource and saying that they're going to follow up with it. And then the youth advocacy program, the Recovery Resources Council, and then we continuing with our webpage and the newsletters monthly. We added 2 of these this year. We already had this intervention support specialist. These are HEBISD social workers. We already had one at Bell and at Trinity, and we've added one at the Buinger Center and Euless Junior High to support those needs. We can still have our DAP counselor that supports both elementary and secondary DAP. We still have some community and school social workers. These are the social workers that we have 7 elementaries, 3 of the high schools, no, 3 of the junior highs and Keys that have these social workers. And they do more of the group work. They set up supportive groups and that sort of stuff and give resources. And then these next people, the community and school mental health counselors, we have one on each Bell and Trinity. And they carry an individual caseload, and they're doing clinical counseling with these students. And these are the ways for parents to access help. They can still go to our intervention website and the newsletters that we're sending out both in English and Spanish every month. This is an example. This is our updated website, and you can see right there's our parent referral that they can click on to refer to us. There's our newsletter in English and in Spanish. These are the ways that our students are able to access help. They can use that Crime Stoppers, and they do. They use it for a lot, not just things that they think are crime. They're reporting bullying or just about anything they're reporting on there, so they are utilizing it. Student links to see counselors, email, phone, telling a friend, and then they also have access to those newsletters. Okay, here are our numbers. So these were the numbers in 2021-22. We had 523 crisis referrals, 183 threat referrals, 36 parent referrals, 122 that we sent to Mind Above Matter program, and then 42 for TCHAT, but that had just started that year. And then we had 1801 crisis data contacts, the database contacts, sorry. This was last year, so we went up on the crisis referrals, went way up on the threat referrals, and I wanted to explain this a little bit because that looks very, very alarming. The way that we implemented the threat referrals, the administrators are really reporting everything, which is what we want them to do, because we want to be able to fill them out and make sure, you know, we catch everything, because sometimes it could be just a little comment from a student, but when we look deeper into it, it's a bigger issue, and maybe they need some, you know, mental health support. So out of that 456, even though that's a big number, 25 of those required case management or they're on monitoring plans. That's what we ended with last year. We had 16 parent referrals, and I think this number dipped down because we were coming out of COVID and, you know, just less with the parents being home with the kids and all of that. We had 88 referrals to iMatter. We had a little bit of dip with them. They lost their therapist, and it took them a while to kind of onboard the new therapist, so that's why that number was that way. Way increased those referrals to TCHAT. That has worked wonderfully for us. And then a little bit of dip in the crisis database, and I believe that is because we are hooking up so many students. The database is about touch points. So sometimes before we were getting them into good programs and getting them hooked up with support, we were having to meet with them more, do more follow-up with them. And now we're starting to see we're getting them hooked up, they're getting into these programs, and we're not having to do as much case management and that type of thing with them. And then this is our numbers so far this year. We're already at about a third of crisis referrals. We have 166 threat referrals. 19 of those are currently on case management. Most of those are fallover from last year, but we've had, you know, some move, and then we've had some new ones come in. And then we're at 8 parent referrals, 9 referrals to iMatter, 77 to TCHAT, and 515 for our crisis database contacts. That's it. You guys have any questions?
Any questions?
What do you see as maybe like the top 2 things that the district needs to focus on in the work that you're doing?
We are seeing, of course, seems like it just climbs every year, but a lot of suicide and non-suicidal self-harm. So a lot of students are taking their frustration out by doing not necessarily things that are suicidal, but like hurting themselves in different ways. Mm-hmm. So I just think that continued support in getting them hooked up with resources. The other thing that I would love to see, and we're trying to work with a program to see if that will work, is the younger kids in those more intensive programs. They're just not out there. They're not out there in the community, and they're definitely not out there in a school-based thing like we do with Mind Above Matter. So we're working hard to see if we can't kind of fit that and see if we could find space to do that and work that way with the younger kids the same way we do with the Mind Above Matter, because they're only able to take 12 and above. Oh, yeah. So those younger kids that are those intense behavioral kids that need that higher level of care, we're having to kind of refer them out. And even then, there's not a lot of programs that take that young. Yeah, yeah.
All right, any more questions? Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry.
All right, summer school report, Mr. Streeter.
Yes, good evening. So I just wanted to let you know that you're going to hear from 4 different speakers this evening. You'll hear about secondary, elementary, as well as STEM, and then Cheryl will talk about our GT and AP and advanced academics. Also, just a quick reminder that in November, and I believe Darla will make reference to this, we will bring you the data from our summer enrichment programs related to elementary, but we're going to hold on that report until November. Lauren Allen is still working on that for us, but we'll have that for you then. So thank you. Darla, I think you're on deck.
There we go. Okay, I want to talk to you about our elementary summer programs, which specifically are the ELP program, the Elementary Early Language, and that's for our pre-kindergartners and our kindergartners, and elementary language enrichment for grades 1 through 5, elementary summer enrichment, which was different this year instead of summer remediation, for kindergarten through 5, and then Brandon will speak on secondary programs after me. So our ELP program this year, as well as the language enrichment, as well as the regular enrichment we'll get to in a moment, were all held from June 5th to June 29th. Excuse me. It was a little bit longer than last summer. We decided to take it that extra week, but we did Monday through Thursday. The focus on our ELP program and our language enrichment, obviously, is language acquisition. And Marie Becker and Lauren Allen co-coordinated the elementary summer programs. And specifically for the language programs, Franco Rivera did ELP, and Jessica Austin was the site coordinator for language enrichment. So I'm going to speak specifically about numbers, attendance, and enrollment numbers, and come back to you in November to speak about the effectiveness. We're studying that right now to see, was this an effective implementation of this type of enrichment program this summer. So in our ELP program, the numbers are there for you to see. We go back to 2017 for comparison's sake. You can see that this past summer, we were up and even exceeded a little bit our highest number, which was 2017. So we had a real dip in 2020. We all know what happened that year. And we were still running a little bit low due to COVID in 2021, but we are back with a normal enrollment, so we're excited about that. 283 kiddos came, and there's the attendance down at the bottom. And while we'd always like to see these attendance numbers even higher, we're going to be happy and celebrate that over 90% of them showed up every day, because as you know, attendance has been suffering all around since COVID. We're working on getting all of our attendance numbers back up. In our language enrichment program, I want to point out that prior to 2021, all of our EB numbers were included in our SSI. If you'll remember those 3 initial Student Success Initiative, we didn't separate out the language enrichment. And we've done that with the Language Academy the last 3 summers. And so you can see that enrollment was up to 114, and their attendance was quite strong. Pleased with that overall attendance for 1st through 5th grades in our language program, which was specifically tied in with our enrichment. They just had some extra language pieces to it. Yes, Fred?
Ms. Clark, any change going from 4 days to going from 5 to 4 and adding that week, or any noticeable differences? Or
well, we haven't
Dug
studied the effectiveness yet. I don't know that it helped us recruit more teachers. It helped just maybe stretch it out an extra week. That we thought would be better to run it that way rather than try to take it through just 3 weeks. In our summer enrichment, which was the new piece, kindergarten through 5th grade, we had Jessica Austin, Rachel Thornberry, Selena Goss, and Katie Killip were our site coordinators. They did a fabulous job. Here are the numbers. You can see that last year we separated out the math and reading specifically. That year was really, really high. We invited a lot of kids this past summer also. You can see that 458 attended, which was about half that were invited, and it was based on data. But it's pretty much in line with all the years before it, except for those COVID years, which were really high numbers for summer school. So we're pleased with the turnout. Like I said, even though only about half attended, we invited a lot of students. And they had really good attendance. If you look at the attendance rate there, all over 90%, with a total being 93%. So again, we'll come back next month and talk about the effectiveness when we look at the data that's being collected.
So the high numbers in 22, 21, were those mandatory years?
That's a great question. Mandatory is a tricky word. We strongly encourage, strongly suggest they attend based on their attendance. You know, when it comes down to it, it's hard to mandate summer school because, you know, different situations that are come up in the summer.
The state said that if you didn't go to summer school, you didn't go to the next grade.
Well, that was in our SSI years, and TEA did away with that, and that was if you didn't pass the STAR test in certain grades, then you didn't promote without the special committee that came together and looked at all the circumstances. But we don't have any specific language in our board policy that says if you don't go to summer school, you don't promote.
I know that we don't as a board, as a district, but I thought that
we
there were a few
strongly
years
encourage if they're
where the state
running
said
behind.
if you didn't do it, then you didn't get to promote. But
yeah, that went away with SSI, but we do try to strongly encourage our parents to send their kiddos, because if we're inviting them, that means that there is a need there. But we were happy that as many came as they did. We always wish for more, since we did have only about half show up. But 458 was still a great number of kids that we were able to reach. And any other questions?
I think the attendance numbers are good, actually. I think anything over 90% in summer school, we should celebrate. And I loved the enrichment part of it and the fact that you got so creative. I went and read every week, all the 4 weeks or whatever. I would love to do that again. I loved it. I think it made a difference. The teachers just seemed happy and relaxed, and I think the way the curriculum was just different, and the teachers even said, you know, I wish we could do school like this all the time, because it was just more relaxed, I think, for them and fun with all the enrichment stuff. But regardless of how the numbers come back, I would see it as a success that you guys went out of the box and really tried something different.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. The kids, I agree with you, Rochelle. The kids were very engaged, and the teachers were having fun, and just all the things going on were so exciting to see, and the smiles on their faces, and something different than we've done in the past. So hopefully had a good impact. We'll see.
I have a good feeling.
Exactly. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Johnson.
Thank you very much. So we are beginning to roll like a well-oiled machine in secondary summer school. Brent Langham, Jason Wiles, and our staff, we had a great level of consistency. They were so excited about how things went during the first session that we had a high number of teachers that came back and worked it for consistency in the second session. So, as you know, in secondary, the goal is to get the numbers down, because that means that there are kids that don't need summer school and don't need to recover credit, but we also want to provide the opportunities for credit advancement. So, as you can see, the numbers 704, we're down there to close to 2019. Of course, we would love to see the 2018 numbers going even lower this coming year. Excuse me. And then here are numbers for each semester. If you can recall, we stopped doing the third trimester in 2021, and so for the last 2 years, we've just done first and second semester credit recovery, and then you see credit advancement, first and second semester numbers there, with a high number of kids that took multiple classes. And then here's our student success rate. So for first semester recovery, we had 84% success rate, and for second semester, we had 82% success rate. And if you think about these success rates, this is not come get a credit. You have to do the work. And so these 84% of our kids that showed up, they did the work, they were able to be successful and recover those credits in each one of those semesters. And then for the credit advancement, we always see high numbers there with 94 and 96% for the first and second semesters. For the overall elementary and secondary summer school budget, here are our staffing numbers in the total number of $834,988 paid out of ESSER 3 and title funds. And so next I'll turn it over to Kira for summer STEM.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to come and speak to y'all. I am going to share some information. I'm going to stay with the whole numbers theme that they've got going about READS and some of our STEM programs that we had this year. I just decided to put in the alignment to the strategic plan. This, of course, goes to goal number 5. And I'll start with HEB READS by the numbers. This was our 6th year. So I decided to give you 6 different figures. We have 1 state award, 2 national awards, 3 years of our Take and Make program, 4 when you think of the 3 cities in the ISD, 5 kickoff events, that's COVID, darn COVID, and year 6, we're still going strong. So we are very excited about what we're going to share. And I have a short video. I hope this will play. It's only about a minute. Let's see if we can download it anyway. I'm doing this with no glasses. I'm very impressed with myself. It is. Yeah, I see it. Uh-huh. Do this one. And I'll just pull it up in here. Maybe. There's just a little background music. There's no talking in this one. Well, we'll go back to the beginning. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I will try to go back to the beginning. I got it. How's this? It's about a minute, I think 20 seconds. So what you're seeing is just a recap of our kickoff event, which was held the 3rd Saturday in May. Everything was free. This was open to our entire community. Depending on who you ask, I usually go with Bedford Police because they stand at the front. We estimated between 4,500 and 5,500 attendees. So we were very pleased. Encore was brand new this year. I don't know, were they not amazing?
They were so fun.
No, thank you. Yeah, with you, Dawn.
We love the bubbles.
Now remember, they sold their bubble truck that we'd used the year before, so we had to find somebody else. But I think they were pretty good. We loved the train. We had over 1,700 people ride the train. We kept up with it through the day.
Was that from the drone?
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
That was at the very beginning before we started. That's our version of big techs.
That's so neat. Great video. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Pena. I don't know where he is, but he is the one who put that together for us. We'll get back to this. I think I can get to there. So some of our new partners this past year, were the Tarrant County College. I don't know how many of you were able to see their massive display that they had up there. They were like kids in a candy store. They were so excited. They were like, we want to do more. We want to do more. I'm like, dial it down. This is your first year. We need to see how this is going to work. I mean, they were already planning halfway through what they wanted to do for 2024. So we were excited. Republic of Texas brought one of their brand new vehicles, which I, of course, asked, how much it costs. He says $275,000. I didn't want to let anybody touch it. scratch it because I didn't know if we'd be liable for it. But Encore came, did a wonderful job, and then Bedford and Euless Library Foundations were part of our event this year. I will tell you about the Encore folks. I don't know if you remember, but there was a bad thunderstorm the night before, and it had rained. Those guys were out till 1 a.m. Some of them had not gone home. They slept at the office so that they could be at our event on time the next day. So we were very, very pleased that they were there. So to give you some of the actual numbers that we came up with, these are total minutes read, and we decided to break them up by the cities. To start out with, Euless eclipsed 1 million minutes for the first time ever. So we were very excited. Bedford at 2.3 and then Hurst at 3.2. Total minutes read for HEB kids was a little over 2.3 million, so that's a 19% increase from last year. And for the entire community, almost 6.7 million minutes, 34% up from 2022.
We're helping a lot of other school districts.
Yes. Well, and when you break the data down and you look at all the public libraries service other cities besides the students in our, in our school district. So we are happy to have them in there because they make our numbers look really good. But we do filter out HEB kiddos just so that we can see what our students are doing. I think Trinity Lakes was our top school this past year with almost 79,000 minutes. So they were super excited. And then we decided to celebrate the community at the end of summer, and this was the billboard at 121 in Bedford-Euless Road. So we put that one up there to thank the community for just everything, because we were so excited about this data for the summer. So, and the cities were, of course, thrilled because this is great publicity for them too. We continue to do Take and Make. This was our 3rd year of doing these, and we did them every Tuesday in June and July, except for July 4th. We did add a new stop this year. Because of summer school, we put a 4th stop at Oakwood Terrace, and we rotated this with the city libraries, and we gave out over 1,300 kits. So, and these were very small DIY. I put a picture of one of them up there so that you could just see, and everything's it's in the little package already together, and then the families take it home. It's a take and make, not a make and take. That's what I explained to them. Take this home with you, have a good time. And then this was also our 3rd summer to do our Mission to Mars Summer Space Camp. This was our 1st year to partner with Rockwall. Last year we partnered with Richardson. 1st year we were by ourselves. I don't like sharing the money, but that's what it means to get the grant. I will share the money. We did do 2 one-week camps in June. I'm honest, Joe, you know that. And this is our 3rd year receiving it. So we received right at $100,000, and then we also continued to partner with SMU on this one. So it has been amazing. We had 108 students between the 2 weeks. They could choose from one of 4 classes, either rockets, rovers, drones, or terrain. And then what I think is still just the coolest thing is that every student gets to take home something at the end of the week. Now, Rockwall chose not to do that. They chose to buy a different type of device that cost a little bit more money, so they wanted to be able to keep them and use them again. But I was adamant that for our portion of it, our students would be able to take theirs home. So, and then we were able to do the virtual field trip again to the JPL lab in Pasadena, which is just fascinating. Here are some of the photos that we took. So we had a guest speaker come. Some of you might recognize James Neri up in that top picture from Bell, formerly of Lockheed, who came and talked to the kids and reviewed some of their drone designs and rover designs, and then just talked to them about different things. We've got everything from paper rockets. We did not blow up anything or bust anything this year. We were very excited with our rockets because we do launch some of them in the auditorium, the paper ones, whenever we're starting out. And so one year we might have hit something. But this year it was great. We had a fantastic time. Our rovers did a great job in the picture, in the 3rd picture. And then our drone team, I don't know if you can see the drones. I tried to highlight them in the circles so that you could see the kids are flying them. And this is based on what we give them as far as data for what the terrain looks like. We only tell them it's in 4 quadrants. One of them has a volcano in it. and then they build what they think the rest will look like. So that's what they had constructed in their room, and then that's how they practice through the week, because they don't see it until Friday afternoon when they actually do the mission. So looking ahead for 2024, Reads is going to be on May the 11th, and then we will start from May the 11th and go through July 31st. We will do Take and Make again. I'm assuming we'll stay at these same stops as long as summer school stays in those locations. If they change, we'll adjust as we need to. And we are getting ready to turn in, or we've turned in our grant request. We're waiting to hear from the Workforce Commission, hopefully sometime in November, December, whether or not we've gotten this grant again.
Awesome. Great job, Kara.
So there you go. Any questions for me? Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Harris.
I want to go to Mission to Mars and blow things up. The GT, Advanced Academics and Global Initiative summer camps also align to different elements of our strategic plan, as well as the Texas State Plan for the Education of Gifted and Talented Students. And we offered a number of camps this summer. We had Camp Envision. I'm just making up new ones now. Camp Invention, which is a product of National Inventors Hall of Fame. And we offered it to GT and highly capable students in elementary school. The middle school version of that we offered at the same time. So this was for grades 6 through 8. We tried out offering it concurrently to see if that helped with getting some of our 6th graders to come up to the older kids camp. IB Summer Academy. So this is a summer school program that we have to help our students who are in IB take classes that are graduation requirements and get room in their schedule during the school year. So we had great turnout for IB Summer Academy. Also, PSAT prep for our superintendent scholars. These are our rising 10th grade students with national merit potential based on their PSAT 8-9 taken in the 8th grade. And then the older students who are showing potential for national merit, we offered to send them to KD College Prep. And we had 77 students qualify, and 34 of them just finished, because the last step of it was to take the PSAT and MSQT that they took 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. And then the last camp that I was working with this summer was Camp Call, Chinese and Arabic language learning. And that was for preventing summer slide, I guess you could say, for our students who are studying Chinese and Arabic, but also to recruit some of the younger students into our Chinese and Arabic programs. So those were the offerings that my department had for summer programs. It's a good summer to be an HEB kid. Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Okay.
We are ready for action items. 11.02, consider approval of update to the 2023-2024 staffing table. New units. Looks like we have a pinch hitter.
Baseball theme. Good evening. We ask that the board approve the addition of 6 units to the staffing table. And as you read in the Friday update, we would like to add the following. 1 teacher assistant for early childhood special education at Bell Manor. This unit will accompany the new early childhood SPED unit at Bell Manor, for which you approved a teacher on October 2nd. 4 grounds helpers for the maintenance and operations department, and these units will be for the 2100 Plaza Parkway property, and that'll take effect November 1st. And 1 coordinator of facilities and construction for the maintenance and operations department. Are there any questions?
Any questions on this item? I'll accept a motion.
I move the board approve the new units as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the new units as submitted. Please vote. And that motion passes. Thank you, sir. Item 11.03, consider approval of band competition travel costs. Ms. Cumberledge.
Good morning, or good evening. I wanted to tell you, first of all, I'm so happy to be here because that means I've got great news to share with you. This month is affectionately known in the music world as Bandtober. We've hosted 5 events at Pennington, and I think that is attributed to our awesome volunteers. We've also filled 1,100 volunteer spots with parents and community stakeholders to host these contests and become a destination event. This past Saturday, we hosted Area B UIL Marching Contest, which encompasses an area from Waxahachie to Richardson to Weatherford, and it involved the top 35 bands in that area. I'm proud to say that both Trinity and Bell were in there. Trinity, as Mr. Romero mentioned, was 2 or 3 away from making finals, and they're trending upwards. We have really high hopes for them next year. LD Bell had a call time of 8:15 a.m. The kids showed up at LD Bell at 5:30 in the morning for an 8:15 performance, and then they drew the final slot of 11 p.m. for finals. In preliminary performance, they were ranked 6th, and 7 go to state. It was going to be a battle, and those kids fought and showed up and came out 3rd overall and advanced to the state marching contest.
We're so excited. That's great. That's great.
Do you have any questions?
All right, are there any?
I do have a question. So I see a piece of paper in front of me that's different than what's on the screen.
It has been updated. Originally, we forecasted if 2 bands made state competition, we planned for that, but the updated amount should be lower.
So what is the dollar amount? Because I know that you went over on that one, it said 350, and I was wondering why wasn't it 300? So for this one, what is your number that you're requesting? I'm assuming it's a little bit over than what this totals.
Right, we're not anticipating needing 175. We're planning for that to be closer between 130 and 150.
So what amount are we voting on tonight?
Not to exceed 175.
Okay, that's what I didn't know. I didn't see that anywhere. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Then I will accept a motion on this item.
I move that the board approve an amount not to exceed $175,000 for travel costs for LD Bell High School's participation in the UIL marching competition as presented.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, for the board to approve amount not to exceed $175,000 for travel costs for LD Bell High School's participation in UIL marching competition as presented. Please vote. Very slow.
While we're waiting, can I ask you a question? Does the UIL kick in anything?
They do not. This is an honor to be selected. Only 45 bands in the entire state of Texas will be down there competing.
All right, and that motion passes, so good luck to LD Bell.
Thank you.
All right, consider approval of quarterly investment report for the quarter ending August 2023. Mr. Williams?
Okay, not to be outdone by Mr. Streeter, I want you to notice I have no notes whatsoever for the presentation of this report. It is 100% from my heart. So, no, just kidding. Those kids did a great job, and I wish I had that available to me at that age when I was going to school. But anyway, they did a great job. So, all kidding aside, the Texas Public Investment Funds Investment Act requires us to bring this report to you quarterly for you to review and approve. We typically do a 2-read on that, but it was our October 1st meeting was so early, it wasn't prepared by the people that prepare it for us in time. So, but we did provide it to you in the Friday update, so you had a chance to look at it before tonight's meeting. And so this is the report for the quarter ending August 31st, 2023. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. We continue to do well on our investments. It's something we haven't enjoyed in a long time, and we're
Interest rates, right?
It's helping plug some holes here and there. So.
Any questions on the quarterly investment report? Then I will accept a motion.
I move the board approve the quarterly investment report for the quarter ending August 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the quarterly investment report for the quarter ending August 2023. Please vote. And that motion passes. Consider approval of purchase service vehicles.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up, we've got some maintenance vehicles and then some safety and security vehicles. And unlike the investment report, this one is only coming as a one read for a different reason, mainly because of the market and the way things are right now, at least with vehicles. If we don't act on them once we locate them, they're gone if we don't jump on them pretty quick. So we get them to hold them for us for a little bit. If we don't get them pretty quick, then they sell them to somebody else. So anyway, so I'm going to let Mr. Minor come up first to talk about the maintenance vehicles, and then Sheriff Dan.
And because the original intent of this process was to be a two-read, we're seeing that it's going to end up being a one-read. So what we're going to do is whenever we go out, when the process begins and we begin looking for a vehicle, we will add that to the Friday update so you know that it is coming. That way when we do find the vehicle, then you have heard it. Again, though, the intent was to be a two-read. It's just, it's not possible within the market. So when we start the process, we'll put it in the Friday update.
Yeah, would it be possible to do a not to exceed type? If a month before you knew you were going to need something, if we did a not to exceed and kind of give you a opportunity to move forward.
There's a couple of those that are not to exceed.
Okay.
Remember that we can do a not to exceed when we decide to go out.
Yeah, allowing us to be able to move this quickly. We've actually, I was talking to somebody from Katy recently, and they were saying, we've lost 6 of our vehicles. And I kind of smiled, and they're like, what? We got 4 of the vans that they were trying to because Gary reached down. We bought them. We moved quickly. We got them, and they were being shipped up here when he's telling me they were needing 6. They're like, we got 2 of the 6. So that's exactly what we're talking about. So for maintenance and operations, we're looking at 2 super duties. This is to replace some older ones. Now, to be able to tell you exactly how we're doing that, it's a little bit of a shuffle in the fleet. We're having, we're doing 2 super duties to be able to allow us to be able to pull heavier equipment. So one's going to the plumbing department, which they pull trailers, box trailers, and equipment pretty much on the regular. Another one's going to, I believe, the building trades for a very similar reason. If you've seen talk about HEB reads, we usually bring the emergency trailer over, and that's what we run everything through that trailer. So it allows them to have something a little beefier now that is designated in their shop to be able to do that. Then we'll work through just shuffling all the other vehicles, and then we oust the ones that are the worst. David's done a great job of working with Justin to try to keep this, what we need in the fleet, and then also to be able to make that coordination amongst what we need in our shops. So, any questions?
I have a question, but I'll wait till after Dan.
Okay.
Good evening. So the 2 vehicles for safety and security, when I presented last year for the overall safety and security budget, I did not anticipate having more positions within the department, but we do now, which is great. And so we're looking at asking for 2 vehicles, one for the security officer, which is going campus to campus every day, usually hitting 5 to 6 campuses a day, and assisting with exterior door checks and safety issues on campus. And then for the threat coordinator and the crisis team, we have asked for a larger vehicle because we are hopefully by the end of December, the safety and security offices will be completed over in Pat May, so the crisis team will be over within our office. They're already responding, scattering out quite often from different parts of the district, but they're also about 4.5 times a day, they're all heading to the same campus. So to replace the travel stipends that we're doing and be able to have the team be able to effectively move together when they need to was the reason for the request for the larger SUV. Any questions?
So my question is Chastang a specialty type vendor that cannot allow us to buy all 4 from them?
I think I can speak to that one. Oftentimes, it's not necessarily, it's the availability, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, is to be able to do that. We've had to, in the past, go to one dealership to another and get 3 different ones. I've even driven past some of the dealerships. They will actually spread their cars out because they're running so thin on vehicles. And when what we're needing, we need exactly the very specific specification, sometimes that many of the dealerships aren't able to cover all that.
And is Chastang a dealership?
I believe it is. It's south, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one quick question, and it may have been in the material and I missed it, but are we trading in the older 250s, or are we selling them, or are we repurposing them?
No, many of it will be repurposed, but the oldest ones, we will then turn around. We usually surplus those and sell them back in, because there's been a couple, I don't want anything that costs the district more, and there's actually been times where we had to pay to get rid of those things back to a dealership. Tractors, we've done that. We've actually been able to make a few thousand off of that. But in this case, it's better to just us go through our surplus than to go through the hassle of trying to get it back, especially when we're dealing with dealerships down south or out of state or something like that.
Yeah, I know it's extremely difficult to find these vehicles right now. I've been looking myself, and if you can find them, they're crazy expensive. So, any other questions? I'll accept a motion.
I move that the board approve awarding this purchase to Sampax, 5-Star Ford, and Chastang Enterprises LLC under buy board contract number 601-19 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and second for the board to approve the awarding this purchase to Sampax 5-Star Ford and Chastang Enterprises LLC under buy board contract number 601-19 as presented. Please vote. And that motion passes. 11.06, consider approval of schematic design for 2100 Plaza Parkway renovation, Phase 1.
All right, so tonight I'm going to introduce Aubrey Moses. Some of you may have known, she's still trying to work over changing her name over. But she's with Huckabee. She's been working on this project, so I'm going to turn it over to her for the schematic design.
All right, good evening, board. I think I'm about the last one keeping you from a baseball game, so I'll try to be efficient with time. So this is the schematic design presentation. We've gone through a series of meetings with Josh and others on this project. And so if you all approve this, then we will go straight into construction documents for this project and hopefully get it ready for construction first part of next year. This narrative is here always just for your reference. So I'm just going to start with the site plan. There is no actual site work on this project, so this is just in here for your orientation. Central Drive is over on the left side of the sheet, and then Highway 183 just off the bottom of the sheet. So this is the old 24-hour fitness that you all have recently acquired. And so this is just the Phase 1 renovation. It's just what is necessary to get it up and running for gymnastics and for family engagement services. Since we know if the bond election passes in a few weeks, a lot of the gymnastics space across the district will be coming available at different times. So this will provide them a place in the interim. So what we're looking at doing is this is kind of the demolition plan. So everything you see kind of dashed in is what's coming out. So those offices on the bottom half of the plan, that's at the front of the building. We're not reconfiguring anything, but we are going to take out some of the casework that's been there since the 90s that's nice and pink and green from the time period, and just make those offices a little bit more usable for what you all need, updating the technology, updating the finishes in those spaces. And then in the upper left, you'll see more of a gymnasium-sized space, and it is currently divided down the middle right now, and there's a daycare facility on one side and a small gym on the other. We're going to take that out and let that be a larger gymnasium space for gymnastics. And then on the second floor, this layout really is pretty conducive to what they need it to be. So not a lot of reconfiguration, just the primary piece that we'll be working on. You see the red outline there towards the bottom. That is currently looking down below into the first floor. And so we're going to infill that area so that that second floor space can be used for vaulting. They can have the full length of the building that way, and then they can take advantage of the height of that clear story in that space for the actual vault.
So that means, sorry, I feel silly asking this question, but that means you actually won't be able to look down into the first floor. You just.
Correct.
That's amazing. You just infill it?
It's not easy.
Yeah,
We have gotten the original structural drawings for this, and unfortunately, the columns will not support, the existing columns will not support the second floor. So you can see on this new plan, there's a bunch of columns being added to make this work, unfortunately. We wish there were a cleaner way to do it, but just given what we have, it is going to take a lot of extra work. There's a geotech underway. They're actually going to do some borings inside the existing building to verify the foundation that is there for us. And so that's kind of the biggest piece that we're waiting on to be able to really wrap this project up. Again, so this is kind of the new plan, even though there's, like I said, there's not a lot of reconfiguration. What you see in orange is the office space that will be used by family engagement services. And there's a good waiting area kind of out in the main entrance as it sits today. You see in the upper right of the orange area an MDF. That's the technology closet. We are going to be rerouting all of the cabling for the entire building, thinking both near-term and long-term for this building. We think this is a good location for that. There's not a dedicated closet in the building for that right now. And so this will get you a step ahead in the next phase, whatever that entails. And then the blue, you can see the gymnasium after the wall is removed. And then there's a little warm-up room off to the side there. We have been trying to work with a third-party gymnastics consultant to actually provide layouts for us for all the different pieces of equipment. We've not had a lot of luck in getting those layouts from them yet, but we're still trying because we do just want to validate this will function as those coaches want it to. And then the second floor, like I said, no reconfiguration. What is in the upper left is an existing dance room, and they will use it similarly. And then the upper right is another workout, aerobics, those types of different classes and things. We're going to convert that into a room for the beam, take out the ceiling, and give them a little bit more height up there. As far as the rest of the space, it is open and will remain open. The only modifications that we're going to do is modify the HVAC units. Right now there's kind of some central ductwork coming right out of those that's making a little low ceiling heights in some areas. So we're going to redo the ductwork to try to raise that up to give them as much height as possible for tumbling and other activities. Then on the exterior, Armco is writing up a report for us right now based on their investigation of the building envelope and the building roof. The roof is in good shape. We don't expect much of anything to need to be done up there other than painting some exposed steel on the back side of the parapets. From the exterior face of the building, there is some hail damage on the ephes, which is the upper portion of the elevation there that you kind of see with the square pattern on it. So we will need to be doing some repairs there. And so we will end up painting all of the ephes around the building after we do those repairs. And then you'll see the black angled areas on the front there. That metal panel also has some damage and some things kind of peeling away there. So we plan to replace the metal panel. Other than that, just kind of polishing up those granite panels. We'll be just replacing just the front edge of those aluminum frames that have been painted over time and the paint's kind of cracking off. So just get a good clean look. We will be replacing all of the exterior aluminum doors, just so you can get your standard hardware on them, add access control to them, and get that up to district standards. It's a little small, but here is the current opinion of probable cost. I know we just kind of had a ballpark figure when the project kicked off of a construction cost around 1.5. Once we really got into the structural rework that needs to be done to be able to support that second floor, I broke it out as an alternate at the bottom just so you can see the breakout of that cost, but it is the administration's recommendation to continue to pursue that and keep that in the project. But you can see that when we do include that, that does push the construction cost just over $2 million and total project cost close to $2.5 million. So it is a pretty significant chunk of the project scope to make that work. And I do apologize, I just noticed this afternoon, ignore the cost per square foot. I don't know, I think it was based off of 2,200 square feet, which is not accurate, so don't worry about it. It's not $700 a square foot. From a project schedule standpoint, like I said, schematic design is today. If you all approve that, and we will move into construction documents. This completion date of December 15th is pending the receipt of the geotech report and enough time to produce the documents based on those findings. But that is our aim, to have documents completed December 15th. We'll issue it for bid as soon as everybody's back from the holidays, and bring to you hopefully a CSP contract to award at the February board meeting. That should allow plenty of time for construction to be complete during the summer of '24 and have a summer 2024 move-in. You want to add anything?
Yes, please. So one thing too to speak to is if you saw on the schematic, it shows the pool area and it says out of scope. So the district, we're working with that on a separate. We did have a vendor come in. They did do an inspection. And it was like I described to you, prepare for a worst case scenario. Matt and I, when I looked at some of the equipment, we were like, okay, that goes, this is questionable. Well, the questionable things, they said, well, just like what we said, that's questionable, but if I would recommend making a recommendation, it would be to replace all that due to chlorine and setting for 2 years and not operation. So we've already started some of the things that they said, which was drain the pool, start washing and doing an acid wash on that. We are waiting on some quotes and estimates to come back to be able to see what it is for 100% to be able to get that piece back up and running like it's supposed to be. Outside of that, just this is, again, we went with a very light reno on the inside, surfaces and finishes, for us to be able to come back, do all the things that are necessary right now to get us in, and then we would then look at revisit this at a later time. Any questions on that?
My question is about, as we know, prices are changing all the time. So is there any contingency built into this?
This estimate does include, I believe, 3% escalation, so factoring from where we are today to where we anticipate the bid, and it does include some contingency costs as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'll accept the motion.
I move that the board approve the schematic design for 2100 Plaza Parkway renovation Phase 1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the board to approve the schematic design for 2100 Plaza Parkway renovation Phase 1. Please vote. And that motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, we're ready for open forum number 2. Any cards, Ms. Hollander? No. All right. Other business. Does any board member have any items they would like to request be put on future board agendas? We don't need a second closed session, I'm assuming. All right, then I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.
Wow, really? There you go.
It's 3-0.
Go Rangers.